Let me guess. You're working harder than ever, but the rules of HR seem to be changing. Between hyper fatigue, AI disruption, and shifting employee demands, the work seems impossible to keep up with. And what's the problem here? HR leaders who don't keep up right now are going to get left behind in 2025 and beyond. In this video, I'm diving into all the HR trends that you should know about as an HR manager in 2025 and how you can take this as an opportunity to grow and to not be caught off guard. If you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, turn notifications to not miss any videos that I drop about ways to elevate your HR career on purpose and with purpose. As an HR manager, I know what it feels like to not have support from your leaders, from those around you, and you want a sounding board. So drop it down in the comments. Tell me what's been the biggest shift that you've seen in your workplace. I'm really curious what's going on in your world. If you're not new here, you know the drill. Get your notebook, take some notes on what we're going to cover today. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Brittany Graddick. I'm an HR leadership coach and also the creator of the HR Leadership Accelerator program, where I work with HR professionals to help you go from being an overworked manager to being a strategic leader. In my own HR career, where I worked from intern to executive leadership in my day job, I know firsthand that keeping up with the trends and staying ahead of the trends is really what helps you to build that credibility in the boardrooms. That's what we're going to cover today. The role of HR in any organization has shifted significantly. When I started back in 2008 in HR, the transactional nature of HR was really expected and really was the only thing we could really think about at the time because we were still fighting to get a seat at the table. Now HR has a seat at the table, but what we need to do right now is make sure that you're able to speak powerfully, communicate powerful ideas from a very unique perspective that you have as an HR professional, especially if you're a department of one, if you're managing a team, if you're managing a department for the first time. So understanding that you need to shift from that transactional work of HR to being that business partner, not in title, but in practice, so you can really help to shift performance, shift culture, and help to shift the strategy as well. Executives expect HR to contribute to business outcomes, not just employee satisfaction. AI tools and data analytics are used to measure employee engagement, employee performance, and a lot of things around the employee experience. So HR leaders who can use that data and interpret it powerfully are really going to be the ones that are going to help shift the narrative and tell the story of the employee experience. These are the top HR trends you should be aware of in 2025. The AI assisted HR department. HR professionals must learn to partner with this technology, not compete against it. So AI can help you streamline a lot of information when it comes to your employee engagement, the way your employees are learning through LMSs, learning management systems, and also help you to understand your recruiting data. But again, AI alone is not going to be enough to shift the entire narrative. You got to find ways to look at the data that AI can provide, look at ways that you could partner with AI to help tell powerful stories and understand the data as well. You understand your business, you understand your organization, you understand your employees way more than any robot can. So use the things that you know about your company, and you can either help AI to interpret the data for you or take the information that you get from AI and help you to understand how to frame it differently. But again, don't compete against the technology because it's a losing battle. Find ways to leverage it in powerful ways. Again, AI can streamline a lot of things, but it requires a human mind and human touch to make sure you're using it in the right way. Your influence grows when you lead conversations around how AI can help support people, not replace them. Another trend you need to be aware of and on the forefront of: skills based talent development. Now, you can use AI to help you build this out, but this is separate from the technology. This is more of an approach to how you are looking at your workforce and looking at how can you identify what people are talented in, what people are interested in, and using that to help you to plan for your workforce in the future. For example, do you know how many people in your workforce have aspirations of leadership or higher levels of leadership? Or how the percentage of your team that wants to maybe stay in place but still grow where they are? Finding ways to really get to the heart of where your employees are, it really helps you to make powerful decisions from an HR perspective, but also a leadership perspective as well. Resting on the fact that you have traditional job descriptions, that's just a dying idea. Job descriptions are necessary, it helps with accountability, it helps with making sure we are keeping people in line with what they have signed up for. But we can't just rest there. We've got to keep looking at ways to skill and reskill and upskill our employees to help them to be the most powerful version of themselves as possible. In my own day job, I've seen how impactful it can be when you don't just have the biannual or the annual performance evaluations that employees hate, that managers hate, that everyone hates, but you find ways to have ongoing conversations around what employees want to do, what employees desire, but not only what the employees want to do and what they want to do, but what is the employee going to do to get there? So we've got to find ways to meet people where they are. Not everyone wants to be a manager. Not everyone wants to be a leader. And we've seen it firsthand where people who are great individual contributors are tap on the shoulder to be the next manager, but they're horrible at it because they were not trained and equipped to be a manager. So, what are you doing from an HR perspective, especially as a leader, HR leader? How are you equipping your people to be successful as a frontline employee, as a manager, as a leader, even in upper leadership? So, again, looking at skills based talent development. What are the skills that are necessary for your team to be successful, and how are you intentionally developing those skills? Piggybacking off that last idea, another trend that's on the forefront that you want to make sure you're aware of is the need for intentional leadership. Again, these leaders who were tapped to be managers of people, managers of processes, but they're not great people leaders or process leaders. They're not equipped. So this is where you come in as an HR leader. So employees who are on the other end of those manager relationships, they want empathy. They want leadership. They want to know that the leader is compassionate. They want to know their leader is equipped to do the jobs that they're helping them to do. So again, we've got to find ways to equip your managers to be successful. Now I know there's this long-standing debate between, do HR professionals support the employees or support the business? And when you say business, you really mean those senior leaders. And it's really not an either or. It's really an all. But I think one thing that really gets left in the middle is those middle managers. So the middle managers sometimes get forgotten about because sometimes we're looking at the top. We're trying to be strategic. We're trying to make the CFO satisfied and the CEO satisfied and all the senior leaders. And we're trying to make the frontline employees engaged and satisfied and happy. But those middle managers, those people who we just said probably are not equipped to be people leaders, those middle managers who probably didn't really want to be a leader of people, but they want to make more money or they wanted more exposure or they wanted more experience. We need to find ways to equip them to be successful. So again, this intentional leadership development is so important beyond the skills development, but leadership development is so key because again, these middle managers are probably going to be your future senior leaders, either here or somewhere else. The challenge really is finding the skills to equip yourself to meet these middle managers where they are. In an age where we have so many generations of the workplace and our leadership teams are changing dramatically, the way that you coach and the way that you develop your leaders is going to be your biggest differentiator between your department and someone else's HR department. The next trend, data driven employee experience work. Now, that's a mouthful, data driven employee experience work. But what I mean by that is going beyond just the surface level statistics around employee engagement and employee satisfaction, but really going deeper into the data around your engagement surveys if you're doing them, your pulse surveys if you're doing them, your exit interviews if you're doing them, your stay interviews if you're doing them, going into the data and using that data to tell powerful stories. Is the data reflecting what you want to see? Is it not reflecting what you want to see? Do you know what you want to see? These are all the questions you should be asking yourself when you're looking at your numbers, whether it's in your HRIS, whether it's you're tracking manually in your spreadsheets, whether you've got dashboards that you set up. It doesn't matter, but you got to find ways to look at the data that you have, make sure the data is clean, make sure the data is always updated, but use it to make powerful decisions, impactful decisions. When people think about HR, the first thing they think about is hiring and firing. I believe second to that, they probably think about employee satisfaction. And those are great things to do, but that's not all that you do. So anything that you do can be measured, anything that you do can be tracked and improved. And so I really believe that if you can't improve what you're not tracking. You can't improve what you're not measuring. So you've got to find ways to measure what you're doing, measure your success, gauge your success against yourself, measure it against the benchmark, measure it against the industry, but find something to anchor your work in so that you can see how you're improving and how you're comparing yourself to the market. As you're looking to be taken more seriously, this is the data that's going to help you to be seen more seriously and be taken more seriously with your credibility. Again, leaders are going to come to expect you to have numbers to support the things that you're saying so that you don't have opinions about the employee experience or opinions about the work that you're doing. The work that you're doing is not soft, it's not irrelevant, it's very powerful and impactful because you're impacting the life and the livelihood and the families of every employee that you serve. Never forget that. Next trend, and this is a big one for me, one of the most important ones, HR as a change agent. Every major business change, whether it's AI adoption or hybrid work or sustainability or restructuring, runs through HR. So think about that. Every big thing that happens runs through HR. So because of that, that's why it's so important for us to not be on the outskirts of the business. We've got to be right there along with the other business leaders to know what's happening, what matters most to the business, and how can we make sure we're sustaining. So using the things that you have access to, your unique perspective as an HR leader, all the data around the employee experience to tell those powerful stories we just talked about, use that to be a change agent, a champion for change, helping people to not only see the things that are coming down the pipe and that's going to impact them positively or negatively, but helping employees to see and helping leaders to see the impact of the changes getting ready to happen. Everyone's been a part of a change at work where either things aren't communicated properly, things fall through the cracks, people feel left behind, they feel left out. And that does not feel good. So, as a leader, as a change agent, as a change champion, as an HR leader, you must be the one that's going to translate the things that matter most to the employees, the things that matter most to the senior leaders and to the middle managers, even to make sure that everyone feels included and they're aware of what's getting ready to happen and what's going to impact them and how it's going to impact them. The best HR leaders, the most successful HR leaders, are appropriately translating these changes so that's going to matter to the people that it's going to be impacting. The goal here is to help the leaders and the employees adapt together, not leaving one or the other behind. I'm curious, which of these trends do you think are having the biggest impact on your companies in 2025? Is it AI? Is it how you're approaching data and telling stories? Is it your approach to leadership development, some type of change management that y'all are going through? Tell me down below in the comments. All of these trends I just listed are happening either in your company or in the companies around you. And if they're not happening in your company just yet, then you need to be the one to bring them to the forefront to make sure you're leading the right conversations. Knowing the trends is not enough. You've got to know how to apply them to your company, to your workforce. Strategic HR leaders tie every initiative to a business goal. And I challenge you, use this video to talk about very powerful conversations with your leadership team. Use the things we're talking about in this video, the trends, and say this how this will impact our company, or this is what HR can do to help impact this trend XYZ. But this is the kind of work that's going to help you to build those powerful bridges and build those alliances in your workforce so you can be that change agent that you need to be. The goal here is to move from being reactive to respected. And this is the work that's going to help you to take yourself over that hurdle. Understanding the trends is one thing, but you got to learn how to interpret it in powerful ways so that's going to have the most impact on your people. If you can interpret these trends and act on it strategically, you won't just survive 2025, you'll lead it. If you're ready to stop reacting to trends and start leading through them, this is exactly what I do inside of the HR Leadership Accelerator program. I help you how to anticipate change, how to build powerful relationships, how to lead yourself well in the midst of any wave that's coming next. If you know you want to work together or learn more about this program, comment down below the words HR Career Success, and I'll send you a link to book a one-on-one call with me. We can talk about where you are in your career, where you want to grow next, and also whether working together might be right for you right now. With all these changes on the horizon and what we're going through right now, none of this matters if you're only seen as a task manager. Watch this video next to learn how to move from a manager to a leader, and I'll see you there.